Hi everyone, welcome to episode 7 of the Brewin by Sid podcast. Today we have a very special guest. She is in the finance industry within the GCC. She's worked with the Saudi royal family in terms of family offices and the Bahraini royal family. Please welcome Radka Link, a finance professional within the UAE. Hi Radka.
Hi Sid, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure to be a guest.
Thank you so much. So Radka, I am very excited to have you here. I have a few important questions which I want to start with. Before we even go into the nitty-gritty of finance. Please tell me a little bit about yourself.
Right, so Radka Link, I'm originally from Slovakia, been in Dubai for the last 17 years. I started in consulting in Prague, then went to Tokyo, Australia, spent some time in US, and then London, and from London I came to Dubai. So it was just about financial crisis kind of looming in Europe, and it was a good time to come to Dubai, and 17 years, call myself an OG. I started working in consulting, as I mentioned, but then later on, as I kind of landed in UAE, I worked with many family offices. Early on was with single family offices, working, kind of really diving into private equity VC world. So we look at private equity co-investments globally, in also the hedge funds, real estate. Later on, I also manage a venture capital portfolio of another family office out of the IFC Financial Center. So kind of transition from private equity to VC, and it's really of a journey, I would say.
You've worked with family offices and you've managed billions of dollars. I imagine so, if I'm allowed to say that. How did you break into such a competitive industry, especially as a woman?
That's a great question. I would say that I wasn't really kind of my career projection or trajectory that I actually envisioned for myself. I had this innate curiosity in my entire life, really to be the best what I can and learning everything I can in industries that I kind of lived into. So early on, I was managing an early stage startup when I was in Japan a couple of months, and really kind of thrust me into the VC world. And later on, I just continued more in kind of private equity, just as I landed in the UAE. Work with this family office and single family office and private equity side. And as I kind of transitioned into private equity world, it was really a lot of education, self-education in the industry. So it wasn't the standard route, I would say, from investment banking or kind of corporate consulting. It was more kind of very entrepreneurial sort of journey that led me into the private equity world. And it was really kind of educating myself in industry and became very passionate about industry as well. I really find myself in that. I can tell you that I love what I do, and everybody who I speak with as well, I hope it comes across that I really am thriving in what I'm doing. I'm really passionate about what I do, especially on the private equity side, working with great companies and help them scaling up, or VC companies looking for the next, unicorn, so to speak. So it's been a journey.
Over all of these years of your transition, I imagine 17, 18 years ago, what was that one moment that just clicked and you felt like, yes, I want to get into family offices. I want to get into private equity. I want to get into venture capitalists, stuff like this.
Yeah. I think why I kind of stick around the kind of venture capital and private equity, because I feel that I'm very much the mostly aligned with the values of that industry and it's private market investments. Yeah. So really creating the value in the economy more than anything else. And I think that really speaks to kind of my personal values of kind of really finding opportunities that match with the capital and marrying them to creating something really extraordinary in the market. But again, different things you create on the private equity side, there is kind of value creation framework as a GP or general partner of the fund. There is a value creation framework, how you want to scale and enhance the businesses with a view of selling them on, and then going to another project with VC again, looking for the next
unicorn.
Next unicorn, exactly, or next really transformative sort of startup that can really have a great potential of impacting society at large. And I have been privileged enough to have been exposed to these. My other family office, when I was working at a kind of VC area, we also had an office in Silicon Valley. So I had a lot of pitches from Silicon Valley, the best of the brightest, I would say, in the VC world. So I probably saw what you can see on the market today. I was kind of firsthand saw that already back then, a couple of years ago, even in the space of AI.
Wow, many years ago.
A couple of years ago, about 5 years ago or so.
Wow, AI just before ChatGPT
came out. So we already were aware of that. It's coming. So
wow.
A lot of kind of biotech as well, health tech. A lot of interesting, amazing things happening in the area. Yeah.
As a woman in finance, at a high role like yours within the GCC, which is honestly saying it's a male-dominated industry, especially finance.
So,
How has your experience been working here?
It's another great question because I speak with other women in my industry also, especially kind of in DIs, a financial center, and we all feel the same. We all feel greatly supported by the male colleagues in industry, and it's a kind of vast minority of women in my industry. And most of the time, most of the days, I deal with men. I kind of get used to that, and I really, I have nothing wrong with that. I would love to see more women in industry, and oftentimes I even find myself, let's say I go to conferences, and I'm usually the first and the only woman in the room, or there is a few of us in the room, and I would love to obviously see more, but I would have to say that we have a great support of men here, and I always feel greatly appreciated and respected as well and valued as a woman.
That's really important.
And I think it's really kind of your merits and your experience, your skills, and your knowledge and know-how about industry. Now that speaks louder than your gender.
Wow, that is amazing. And especially from a country of Dubai.
Yeah.
I have family who work in the IFC. I've never heard a bad story. I've always heard a positive response. Whether it's in the wealth management, life insurance, or anything in this industry. I think Dubai and the GCC has just become so supportive of the way the world is moving.
Absolutely. There are huge women empowerment initiatives across the GCC. UAE is doing remarkable 100%. Things, Saudi as well. So we really are on this trend, and I'm really pleased to see that myself.
And I can only see it growing from here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Going more into the finance part now, which is, I think, what everybody's been waiting for, including myself. Family offices, it's a great source of funding for startups. How can an entrepreneur at a startup or a founder at a startup reach out to a family office and pitch to raise funding? Because I imagine what a family office can do, another VC fund can't. I mean, tell me a little bit more.
Yeah, that's really interesting because I would say that, and I sometimes joke that the entire world just come to Middle East to fundraise. Because you have GPs pitching to European GPs are pitching to European LPs and US LPs, GPs.
What's an LP and what's a GP?
Sorry. So the GP is a manager of the fund, and LPs are the investors in those funds. Whereas the entire world seems to be pitching to the investors in the GCC.
Wow.
So they're spoiled by the deals. They really see the best of the best in the entire world. So they can kind of handpick what kind of resonates with them. That's one thing. So the threshold is already kind of high for you to
especially in the GCC.
Especially in GCC. But there are things to go around it. So, but going back to for them kind of doing the cold pitch in the Middle East, it really doesn't work unless you really have a great track record. So the two things are really, really important as you look at it as an investor into the deal. It's the team and the track record. Okay. So the quality of the team and the track record, whatever they've been doing or developing the idea for. I really love the founders who come to me and then they really set on the idea for years.
Yeah.
Perfecting it and really working on that. And how do you pitch family offices? I would say that each family office has its own areas of liking or expertise as well. So you really need to do your research in terms of who is liking and investing into what. And these things are available. I mean, 100%. LinkedIn is a great resource.
I think we connected over LinkedIn.
Yeah, we connected over LinkedIn, exactly.
Is one of the coolest places right now.
Exactly.
And personally, from all the experience that I've had in Dubai and from what I've heard from family, friends and relatives, there's a term called wasta, which means your connections, right?
Correct, yes.
Would you say connections could make a big difference within the UAE?
Yes.
Especially in this
100%
fundraising part?
Getting the warm intro through someone is a key, I would say. As I said, like, people do complain they don't get responses, from the Middle East. And unfortunately, it is because they're flooded by deals from the entire world, And they say investors spend about 4 minutes on a pitch deck. It's probably less than that. Yeah. I usually myself skim through the pitch deck, and if I think it's interesting, I'll dwell a little bit more into that. And maybe it takes me a minute just to really look at the core information there. And also for all the founders out there, I would strongly encourage to have a really nice and clean pitch decks.
Wow.
Not overwhelming, have a crisp idea, what's the idea, what's the market, and how it's going to make money. And if you can, verbalize that really clearly in 60-second pitch, that's really brilliant. And I also like to say that if I like the pitch, like the idea, 50% story is in the pitch deck. The next 50%, I would love to have a call with a founder
Wow.
and really hear him talking about the
And
venture.
I've heard when I watch Shark Tank from time to time, you aren't investing in the product, you're investing in the entrepreneur.
100%. Because he's the one, this is the passion of yours. This is your really baby,
Yeah.
right? And you're going to be growing this baby
Yeah.
as any other child. It's going to need your help, attention. And you need to be able to weather the storms, It's a lot of competition out there, especially with AI. It's just
Yeah.
transforming the industries completely. And be able to weather the storm, really have a deep conviction and be able to pivot as well. So that's really, really key.
Going deeper into founders pitching to whether it's a VC or a family office, what green flags and what things can a founder do to make themselves really stand out? I think you mentioned a few. Can you go deeper into seeing what exactly can they do to say, yes, I want to talk to this guy. Yes, this guy seems interesting. Maybe not even the product, but just how the entrepreneur portrays himself.
Right. So it's really up to entrepreneur to really do the research. They really has to match to the family offices because some of them can say they're agnostic in a sense, they're looking at everything and anything, but usually it is the case that they have an expertise in particular fields they like. And so you do need to do research in terms of what they like. And then getting the warm intro if you can, try to see how you can navigate the market around it.
Could, let's say if I'm a founder, I'm from Italy, and I want to meet somebody who can connect me to a VC fund in Dubai. Where would be the best place I could meet somebody like this?
Okay. So there are a lot of events, a lot of pitch events in the Middle East as well. One thing I would say, again, I would like to touch on the fact that there are a lot of international people pitching into Middle East. One thing they need to realize, and that has happened last couple of years, even more prominent, is that whatever you're pitching to Middle East, it needs to kind of align with the regional agendas.
Wow.
Not even the values, that's true. There's relationship kind of building, but also each country has its own agenda.
Right.
We are very much prominent at the Saudi 2030 vision, right? So there are about 13 industries within the Saudi 30 vision, and is your proposition aligned to where Saudi is going? Because and also, if you have anything tangible you can bring onshore. There's a lot of interest in terms of like importing and onshoring the IP, bringing the talent onshore as well, creating a regional hub. And these things, the investors will love to see what value you bring back to my economy, my society. Whereas maybe before, 17 years ago, 15 years ago, investors were happy to spend $1 for financial returns outside.
Like 1.5,
now they're looking at the dollar I'm going to spend. What kind of value is going to bring to the Middle East? And that has been part of my continuous education of whoever comes to Middle East, unless you're top tier, top decile, or the best in
10 or
whatever
10x
you do.
exits and everything like this.
Exactly. You can just, purely for financial returns, pitch yourself up. Anything lower than that, you better demonstrate what you're going to bring back to, and that's going to really resonate with them. Usually when I don't send in a pitch deck and I really like the proposition, I say, let's sit together, let's redraft the presentation, let's tailor it to Middle East. And I love doing those things. And not many people do that, but it's something that I'm passionate about.
I think that's something that makes you very special in this market.
Yeah, I think so too. Not many people are taking the effort and the work. Yeah. But then again, as I said, when I take the proposition to my investor network, let's say for co-investments, they understand that I have done the work with the, they're going to take my call, they're going to take my email as well, and they're going to understand that
they know
it's
that you're
something
serious at the end of the day, right?
No one's going to waste the time here. It's a
100%.
value creation in the industry. So, yeah.
With all these pitches you have seen in Silicon Valley, what are the biggest red flags you've seen? Maybe not only GCC heavy, but in general, I think we've seen so many AI startups coming in the market. Some who just put a wrapper over ChatGPT.
AI washing, yes,
AI
exactly.
washing, right? What is the biggest maybe the few of the biggest red flags you've seen in this market, especially with AI?
Well, if you've been seeing already hundreds and thousands of pitch decks, you can see the pattern as well. So I always say that the team and the track record of what you have done so far in that respective field. Are you leader in the field? You bring something innovative in its industry and the field as well. And what about red flags? One thing that I always kind of laugh with the team of my colleagues is that inflated financials.
Wow, it's obvious.
Yeah, that's quite obvious. Yeah, the numbers don't lie. The numbers don't lie. And entrepreneurs like to have like the rosy to the picture, how the future is going to look like, and the inflated financials. Because I really like to see the self-awareness. Have you gone to SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses,
the basics of
opportunities?
business.
Correct, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. But that's what I said. The 50% is the pitch deck, and 50% is really speaking with the founder.
Yeah.
I want to scrutinize him how he sees himself, how he sees strength and technology, how he sees competition as well, what he sees, and the self self-awareness. Give me your best estimate, give me your conservative estimate,
Right.
At least we had a conversation about, and being the self-aware is really important for me.
Self-awareness is a big part of your decision making.
Yeah.
We spoke about Saudi and the UAE being a huge thing happening in the next 10 years, especially with the 2030 vision.
Yes.
Dubai has a 2040 vision too.
Yes.
So in the long term,
Yeah.
it's going to be very interesting of what we see out of this, especially with all the construction happening
It's
with
crazy.
the UAE,
Yes.
all the
Yes.
construction happening
Saudi.
with Saudi. It is crazy. For an investor, you could say even a retail investor who's, you could say, pretty wealthy, maybe they don't have a family office, but you could say they have 100 millions in their bank account,
Okay.
or even a family office with tens of billions. What sectors should they be looking to invest in within the GCC, especially UAE and Saudi Arabia?
Kind of regionally, right?
Yeah, regionally.
So not outside investors, like more sort of
What
investors already.
sectors should they be looking at? Would it be construction? Would it be AI? Or would it be, what exactly should they be looking for?
I like to use the words of Warren Buffett, stay with the circle of your competence.
Okay.
Whatever you're going to put your money into, understand you're going to put your money into. Educate yourself first.
Okay.
That's really, really key. And then, you're going to lean into certain kind of, industries of your liking. So stick with that, I would say. But again, if you're going to be looking at kind of broader picture, I would say wherever the particular economy or country is looking at next, this is where they're going to be putting their money next. And you can just ride the wave with them, so to speak.
Right.
So, for example, obviously, UAE's goal is transitioning into knowledge-based economy.
Right.
And AI, transformative, biotech, healthcare, food security, real estate has always been there. With Saudi, in addition to that, it's entertainment and sports entertainment and hospitality industry as well. It's just booming. Really, it's remarkable what's happening there. So you look at each jurisdictions or each country in the GCC and see the national agenda. They're going to be putting the money into those initiatives or industries projects, and you can ride the way with them.
I've seen from personal experience the family business. So we're in the building material industry. So we've been here since 2001. Touch wood. We've seen the market advance. So let's say there's a floor or there's a ceiling. You level it through a material called plywood, right? It has a film-facing bottom and a film-facing top, so then it doesn't stick to anything. It's a quality-based material, meaning you have some plywood that's you can use it 3 times, 10 times, 50 times, 60 times. So what's happening in the market is, I think for the longest time, the USA and China are number one innovators in the market. I'm personally shocked India is not, because of
you have great talent. You have amazing talent in India. Yeah,
they do, but I just haven't seen that spike like US and China have. So China is big in the hardware market, of course, right? So they've released a product a few years ago, maybe it could be older, where you can get up to 100 uses for the same price of 50 uses.
Oh, interesting.
So they're basically taking out everybody else and putting themselves in, which is happening, right? A majority of the market is happening through imports. So at one time where you would focus on exporting to North Africa, now in Dubai, you can't do that anymore because the Chinese suppliers are going directly there. And this is mainly happening because of innovation. People who were once using plywood are now saying, I don't want plywood anymore. I'm paying the same price. I can get double the uses and I can get for half the price. So people, I think, innovating right now, especially in the construction industry, the amount of contractors that are in the market and the amount of development we need are crazy. Everybody's hiring labor on demand and everybody's, 10 times overbooked. So whoever can make it cheaper and let developers profit a lot more, I think that's also going to be huge. Because I think till 2027, 2028, we should have lots of construction still coming in. So who's going to be the first person to swap out a product? Be very interesting in Dubai's market.
Absolutely. And I think with the US tariffs at the moment, there is a kind of world reorder as well in terms of supply chains, and China's going to be always looking for new markets, and UAE has been a great trading partner with China already and the entire Middle East. And what I can say in terms of UAE as well, what I appreciate about the country of UAE is that since 2021, about that time, the Ministry of Economy went on a mission to be signing SEPA agreements, comprehensive economic partnership agreements with the different countries around the world. I think they have about 27 at the moment signed.
Wow.
So which really what it means that they are really building this network of other countries and reciprocal sort of relationship with those countries on tariffs, on trades, on movement on labor. And it's really just phenomenal to see where UAE is kind of going in creating those partnerships globally and really strengthen their position.
There's not many countries. I think UAE is the biggest expat-driven economy with 77% of expats.
Yeah,
if I'm not wrong, probably more. Them just looking to maximize their opportunities is not like many other countries. I'm so happy with the Sheikh. It's one mind towards one goal.
It's fantastic.
There is very few countries who are like this and are actually effective. So, it's
one thing is that we're a monarchy, so which means that we have one leader, one vision, and we all follow that regardless. And which, even through COVID, it just shows how resilient we are as a nation, how we all come together, and there is no political. It's amazing we don't have to waste a second or a minute 100%. On political squabble on, wasting money and time on these things.
Nowhere.
Because we have wonderful leaders. Doesn't matter your background, it's all the countries, all the nations in the world, all the religions as well. We have
everyone's accepted here,
and everybody is accepted, and everybody's on board with the vision of what's happening. And it's just been a pleasure and privilege really to be living in
100%.
UAE.
With all the global tensions that have been arising, investors' portfolios have seen fluctuation, right? With tariffs coming up randomly, laws being pushed out in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
How can investors, including family offices with big portfolios, restructure themselves to be more safe during this period?
Well, I guess it's really much about diversification, I would say, is one key across economies and across asset classes. And really, it's really unpredictable at the moment. I kind of stopped and watching where the tariffs are heading because every day it's kind of changing.
100%.
But the core industries, the economies are continuously going to be growing. And the economy cycle is going to come and go, it's about every 8 years. So you're going to weather out the storms. But diversification is the key. And even participating in local economies, which are very resilient, very healthy, and more predictable, I would say, it's a good bet.
Okay, that's amazing. And what asset classes would you suggest investing in during this period?
Well, I am, I would say, expert in kind of private equity and VC. So I would say that there are still many great opportunities, especially what's happening in the VC world. When I kind of transitioned from private equity into VC about 5-6 years ago, I really kind of immersed myself in the VC world, and just the sheer scale of support and encouragement and government funding and different sort of initiatives and support mechanisms out there for the VC to thrive is really phenomenal. Also in Saudi. So, I mean, the great founders you can back as an angel, so to speak. I mean, real estate is still booming. I don't know when it's going to cool down.
Yeah.
It's probably going to cool down.
It's been hot for a long time now.
Yeah, it's been hot for a long time. And as I mentioned, whatever you do, just educate yourself in that particular industry. And I think it took me a couple of years to educate myself before I even, devise my own portfolio. But education is the key, and whatever risk and return you're expecting, that will be the, whatever suits you as well as investor. On a private equity side, I think we also looked at in terms of the downturn of kind of funding on private equity last year.
Yeah, I was just about to mention this.
Yeah, absolutely.
24%. Private equity market has been down in the last, I think from 2024 to 2025. Where are we heading in terms of this? I mean, what's happening next? Private equity is a huge part of the economy.
Correct, yes.
What's happening?
So in the private equity, I mean, the aftermath of COVID crisis with the high inflation and the high interest rates, that really put pressure on private equity and make the exits less lucrative as well. So with less exits, the LPs or the investors are now getting their money back as soon as fast as they want it. That means there is less money to be then going back to private equity world. So there is a backlog of exits, so to speak. On the other hand, we can also say that secondaries, which is basically buying the existing LP stake, investor stakes in the funds, has been on a rise, about 30%.
So that's basically made up for
correct, there. Exactly, made up for that as well. So the other mechanisms in which you can kind of exit as well, and continuation funds, other private equity as well, has been on the rise. So there is an equilibrium being built in the market continuously. And I think it's going to correct itself now. The interest rate are coming down. Inflation is hopefully curbed. I know. So
I hope so.
yeah, I think in UAE it's about just shy of 3%. So we're kind of on a good track.
One topic I really do want to touch on, especially in the private equity market. I was recently at a seminar networking event. It was actually a live podcast, which is really cool, about fractional investing. And I think, if I'm not wrong, there is already a platform where investors can do fractional investing online.
In real estate as well?
In real estate and in private equity.
Oh, yes,
yes.
Okay,
I don't remember the name of the platform, but do you see this market growing a lot within the next 5 years?
Absolutely. So one company I'm aware of, and I've been following for the last couple of years, actually called Moonfair. It has been actually founded in Germany by a gentleman called Stefan, and he came from KKR, one of the top private equity groups. And he actually made private equity more accessible to professional investors. I think about 50,000 or 100,000 euro you just need to have for access.
That's not bad
Whereas like $1 million dollars in order to access as an investor into private. So kind of democratizing, it's on a huge trend. I think 2-3 years ago there were about billion AUM. Now there are about 4.3 billion AUM assets under management.
Okay, wow.
So what they're actually managing, and it's really kind of focused on kind of retail, professional retail clients. So I'm really pleased to see the democratization of accessing asset classes. I really like to see that.
I personally, my passion is in real estate, not the selling side, but more on the investing and the construction side. Okay. That's what I do for the last 24 years. But I had seen Stake, the UAE fractional investing platform for real estate.
Okay, yes.
They are really cool. I'm not trying to shout them out, but they have different investing types. So you can invest in a buy and hold and rent, in a fix and flip, in a fix, flip and lease. It's really cool. They just hit 1 billion dirhams under management.
Amazing.
Which is so cool because I think financial education within the UAE is not that much, to be honest. It's not that much. And giving your average Joe and you're maybe somebody who works 9 to 5 at an office, the opportunity to invest in real estate with a plan, with no agent, with less risk, with transparency, is making a huge difference.
Exactly.
I'm going to be really curious about what assets get fractionalized next, especially locally. Because Pripco came out by Damac. I think that's more part of the crypto side of it, which I'm not too sure on, but it just somehow works. But I'm just really excited to see what happens next.
If I can touch on kind of financial education, I always felt that there is not enough.
Yeah.
But I did receive, coincidentally, from my son's school today, email from KHDA where they're asking parents about what you think of financial education and how you'd like to implement that in schools.
Wow.
So finally it's happening.
It's happening. Wow.
So, and the other topic was AI. So that's phenomenal because honestly, my son is 7 at the moment, and what kind of skills and education I'll give him that's going to be relevant in 15 years' time, So I think of it almost continuously and daily. But again, I think the UAE government and Ministry of Education is understanding that the financial education needs to be there, and I'm really pleased to see that. And with that, maybe we're going to have more women in finance as well.
100%.
Get early on and educate
I have a lot of friends now who really do want to get into finance, who are women. And it's really interesting. And as you mentioned, AI and financial education in school. For my school, I had a teacher. He is pretty young. Maybe he's 24, 25, maybe 28. But the first school just started the academic season, right? The first 4 weeks of school, he did not teach anything except how to use AI.
Interesting.
And he's an economics teacher, right?
Wow.
So not teaching economics and just helping people see how to maximize AI in their life, in my opinion, is really important. And I think that's what Dubai is also doing in terms of the long-term goals. They're trying to create a team of thinkers.
Yes, 100%.
Because Dubai at first did not have that facility for people to graduate and then go into KKR, to go into BlackRock. But Abu Dhabi just opened a BlackRock office, if I'm not wrong, in one of the main areas in the financial districts, which is very important, very interesting. So that's going to be awesome. My next topic is 33% of all ventures in capital deals are in AI. Where exactly are we heading to something like the .com bubble where everything's going to be overvalued like crazy? where are we heading with this? Because 33% is a lot just specialized in one small
I can
thing.
tell you it's probably more than that.
Yeah.
I can tell you it's about 50%. Or anything and everything has some sort of AI angle, you know. I mean, we have to be careful about the AI washing, which we talked about just earlier, but also the proprietary quality of the AI models or the AI, you know, inventions that the entrepreneurs are coming up with also has to be. But again, the more you're educating yourself, the better it is. In terms of AI, comparing into kind of dot-com bubble, I would say that the euphoria is definitely there. There is a lot of money being poured in that.
Overvalued stocks.
Overvalued
I'm kind of scared of that
well,
part.
yeah, NVIDIA and others as well. But I think with AI, the difference is with AI, you can see the concrete live examples, how this is useful.
Yeah.
How can you create revenues? How can you create productivities in the industries? And the value can be really quantified already. And so you can evaluate it a little bit better. If you can predict revenues, you can evaluate it a little bit better. Obviously, you're going to have more players in the market, and it's going to weed itself out. It eventually will.
Every market does that naturally.
Absolutely. But it's always going to hit the equilibrium. But let's see what's gonna happen, because ChatGPT and OpenAI is continuously.
It's like a blank face. You know, you don't know what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
There's no clear vision.
I've been actually watching Jeffrey Hinton, who's a father, kind of dubbed as the godfather of AI. You know, his predictions where the AI is going, and Mo Gaudat as well. He was with the Google X, and so kind of the futuristic predictions of the AI. It's really fascinating. If people are interested in that, there are plenty of kind of information podcasts on that topic, and it's really fascinating to see that.
I've seen people do ventures into AI. So one of the really cool ventures that's happening right now, a lot in the US, and people pioneering it in the UAE, is AI agents. So if I want to call a salon, you know, it's very heavy in terms of you need a receptionist. So you answer the phone. A receptionist could say, if you pay her a decent salary, 5,000 dirhams per month, 60,000 per year, plus visa, which is 7,000. 70,000 dirhams per year gone to a receptionist to answer just phone calls. Now, AI agents and personalities are mimicking people's voices, like yours and mine. You know, you can't tell. And they are just doing everything faster, effectively. And it's going to be scary, because when people do lose their jobs, where's the unemployment levels going to go, and where are they going to go? Who's going to feed their family at the end of the day, right?
Great questions, great questions, and I've been questioning myself, because I've been watching the gentleman that I mentioned about, you know, that about where we're kind of heading, and Elon Musk as well. Elon Musk has been talking about universal basic income for some time already, and I think it's going to hopefully come sooner or later. It's going to be great displacement of workforce, obviously, and it's scary. I think it's going to get worse before it's going to get better. And I think, it's a real problem. We're going to be the government's going to be facing these problems. I need to be addressing those problems. And I think one of the kind of answers to those kind of dilemma questions was about establishing universal basic income. And so that's one thing. But it is something that keeps me restless for myself as well, because I said I have a 7-year-old son. You know, what kind of skills and abilities I'm going to equip him.
By the time that we, if you're under 7, by the time he's 24, he's out of university. Maybe he did his master's for 2 years. Will AI take his vision by the time, and will he be jobless? What's going to happen?
Because AI, there is really the prediction is that AI is going to absolutely replace everybody. The only thing is that it's going to add to our decision making. It's going to be our companion. It's going to really make our daily kind of work much more productive. So it's a real threat right there. But again, let's see. We really kind of there are
government intervention will have to be
unknowns at the moment. Exactly. I mean, I still kind of feel blessed in UAE that they are so foresighted and very agile as well to be addressing those issues and problems. And then I'm sure they have agenda about these things as well.
100%.
Obviously, the countries that are much less privileged, are going to be impacted much more than we do. So I mean, we'll come together and figure these things out. And also, one thing is AI, the other thing is climate change. So we have to be worried about
lots of problems I think we have to worry about.
Unfortunately, yes.
A very interesting topic now I want to talk about is you, Radka. You are a woman in finance in the GCC, which is one I've never seen. I'll be frank, I have not seen a woman in finance so far.
There are a few of us. There are a few of us.
Tell me more. I mean, you're the only woman in the meeting room you mentioned sometimes.
Yeah, there are more of us, but well, in conferences usually.
Yeah.
When I come to conference, I try to see if there are other women in the conference, but there are a few of us always. But
Yeah.
with mom, I would say it's 90 or 80% always men and then 10, 20% women. So yeah,
Wow.
that's always the ratio.
What's
yeah.
an experience you've had as a woman in the industry in finance, especially in the GCC? You could
Yeah,
share.
it's been very positive, as I mentioned kind of earlier. It's been very positive, and if I can encourage and mentor other women to get into industry, and I took a deliberate effort of connecting with other women in my industry, especially kind of the IVC area, and supporting one another and feeding off each other and creating bond relationships, exchanging ideas, things like how we can help. So it's been really great. The women empowerment is there, and men would like to see more women.
100%.
And I really appreciate and respect you as well. You open your mouth, you know what you're talking about. You're equal partner, regardless of the gender. So, but again, I would love to see more women, and hopefully, we're gonna attract more women with the financial education early on. It's gonna be much more attractive for them.
A lot of women who I know think entering a male-dominated field, especially somewhere where you need to be fast, smart, and sharp, think it's impossible. What's one piece of advice you would give to women?
I have a great advice for you, actually. What I probably seen is that men jump into anything when they are 60% ready. Let's keep it at that. Women jump into anything when they're 110% ready.
Right.
Okay. And it's my fault as well. A big part of that as well. I really have to over-prepare myself. I really took a time, almost a year, educating myself in finance and investments. And so I would say I would encourage women just get out there, learn as you go. Do the fundamental education. You need to like numbers, like the finance. I had a accounting education as well, and that really helped me go into kind of finance. And education was always my passion, and I really like to go deep into what I'm studying. And so, have the courage.
Okay.
The progress is in going outside of the comfort zone.
Right.
Whenever I went outside my comfort zone is where the progress is. And so if you like, it's phenomenal. I really am passionate about what I do. I really thrive into what I do. And so if you can find the same passion, it's wonderful.
And what's one mistake you see women make? Maybe not finance, but there's many other competitive fields like engineering where women don't like to enter, or they think it's very hard. And when they do, they make lots of mistakes. What's one mistake you really want to highlight people to prepare for in advance?
But I would, as I mentioned, say that any mistake is a learning curve, right?
Right.
So whatever you do, it's brush it off, learn from that mistake or whatever you have done, and be better next time.
Right.
I love the saying of Oprah. I've been watching a lot of podcasts and reading a lot of interesting books. And when Oprah was asked on a questionnaire, who are you? And she was saying to herself, am I a show co-host, or am I entrepreneur? Who am I? And she wrote down, I'm a person of excellence. Whatever I do, I put 110% in that, and I really want to be excellent in that, and that's my brand name.
Right.
And can I adopt that as well for myself? Yeah. Whatever I do, whatever you do, anything is how you do everything as well. So I want to be great mom, great wife. I want to really.
I want to be great.
I want to be, exactly. I want to be real. I want to be really great in what I do at work as well, and really create value and just be of service, I would say.
That's amazing. For education, for new people trying to enter the industry of finance, whether it's a male or whether it's a female, what's things you would like to warn them of or teach them of before they do enter something like this? Because entering finance, especially in the UAE, is a gray zone, There's not much publicity. A lot of the firms are very quiet, you need to really know the owner to get in. How could somebody who's, let's say, studying within the UAE or even abroad enter the market?
There are lots of events happening, especially of the area of interest. Let's say VC. I think we talked about it a little bit early on. There are a lot of startup events happening across the GCC. You can go and network and learn as well. And these are free events as well. I'm sure they're going to be loving to see young people like yourselves in these events. I was actually thinking of start taking my son when he goes to the age that he's going to be understanding, take mommy to the conferences and events that I go to. I'm keen on doing that in the future. And really exposing yourself, educating yourself in the industry. And if you can really show the passion, why not? Absolutely. You can absolutely become part of that.
Wow, that is amazing. You've worked 2 decades now in this industry, and you mentioned you did work a lot with the Saudi royal family in terms of the family office?
I work with Saudi Holding.
Saudi Holding.
Yeah,
Pardon me.
Anamala,
So Saudi
yes.
Holding
Mhm.
with their family office. Do you like their vision?
I am really passionate about Saudi. When I came down 17 years ago to UAE, it was hard for me to kind of interact with Saudi. And obviously, we been stuck driving about 2018, and the economy completely opened up under the leadership of MBS, Mohammed bin Salman. So it's just really phenomenal in my era while being in the Middle East to see where Saudi is heading today, where it is today. And I think the window has opened up for next 5 to 10 years for the transformative companies, really top tier managers coming down, and companies as well that wish to establish in the Middle East or create a hub for kind of wider reach as well, and really seize the opportunity in the market. It's a one in a lifetime opportunity for people come down here, and it's very welcoming. I find Saudi is very hospitable, very welcoming, very warm as well.
I think
just like Emiratis.
All the Arabs from the GCC are some of the most welcoming people I've seen. I've never met anybody rude from here. They've always been so accommodating, as you mentioned. Whether you have a flat tire, I've had somebody help me fix a flat tire on the road. No matter where they're from, there's always like unity between everybody.
Correct,
Nobody thinks they're better than each other. It's always very united, which is very important.
Exactly. So Saudi is just like that, like UAE, like the rest of GCC.
And I think right now in Saudi and the UAE, we're going through a boom. It's like in 2001 when Free Zone had opened up in the UAE, and that's when companies really started getting in. I think we're facing something like the same scenario, especially with NEOM happening, the line happening. I'm now going more to Saudi. Would you suggest companies to really start opening up within Saudi? Is the competition is it very competitive there, or is there still a gap for entrance?
I would say, there's still a gap because they're really building economy from the ground down. So cities being built, cities of the future being built. So as you mentioned, NEOM, Red Sea Project, the Line Project, and others. So, and PIF, their sovereign wealth fund, has about another 100 sub-funds or sub sort of funding vehicles for any industry, any initiatives you can think of. And I've been facilitating those relationships with outside managers or companies. So in Saudi Holding, that was really my passion again, domesticating those outside, managers with their portfolio companies or directly companies who want to establish themselves in Saudi. It's a lot of support. They set up special economic zones, just like we have free zones in the UAE. So you can really be 100% ownership. And so there's a lot of and I think Saudi especially is really looking to build their economies more than anything else. Rather than putting money outside in outside markets, they really want to build the local economy. So as I said, if you can align yourself with the Saudi vision and bring something onshore,
it's going to be in your favor.
100%.
Wow.
You're not going to get no if you're good.
They say Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yeah, I said that.
Saudi is impossible to build in a day. In what time frame do you see Saudi becoming a stable economy like the UAE? UAE is still growing, but I would say between 2014 and 2020, it was comfortable, There wasn't much growth happening because everything from 2001 to 2008 was settling through. 2008 was really bad, I imagine so. I think that's when you entered the industry too. Everybody was bleeding at that time.
He was.
But I think it took a good amount of time for Dubai to settle, and I hope nothing like that does ever happen again. But it took a good 10 years for everything to settle down, and now we're in a boom at the end of the day, right? The economy is booming. We don't know how long it's going to take to settle down. It's not a mature economy like New York or London. Do you see the same scenario of it taking a good 10, 15 years for Saudi to be built like a full-fledged economy?
Absolutely. There is nothing that needs to stop them. And I think the UAE Centennial Vision 2071 is to building the most successful and prosperous nation in the world. That's the leadership kind of vision for us. And Saudi, the same thing. And going back to kind of UAE as well, ADG, MD, IFC are financial centers. They really want to become top-tier financial centers in the world, and they're on the way there. With Saudi as well, obviously, things going to take some time. There's organic growth, and there is also growth, kind of initiated by the governments and supported by governments. It's going to take a while, but it's going to get faster, I think, that initially kind of envisioned. Let's see in next 5 years when Vision 2030, Vision 2030 is going to come into fruition, how much of the progress has been done. But one thing I have to say that these nations have been built on the visions, and bold visions.
Of the leaders.
There was always a bold vision, and the same thing is happening in Saudi. And people are really much on board, and people are going to participate the best way they can to build those economies. And I'm sure Saudi is going to get there. there. Absolutely. I see very positive
That's
picture for
awesome.
Saudi.
Thank you so much, Radka. It was a pleasure having you on the podcast today. We got through some really interesting topics.
Absolutely.
And it's been amazing.